How you doing, guys? Professor EDC with another BLADE-OSOPHY Sunday, and today let's talk about the hobby. Yeah, let's talk about this wonderful hobby that sometimes I hear many people mention it as something more of an addiction, right? And that's confronts me a little bit. And but it's a great topic because this may happen to us, to many of us, a lot of times with different things. And so here the questions to be asked to ourselves are do you own your blades or do they own you? You know, do you own the hobby? Do you enjoy the hobby, or does the hobby enslave you? And I think those are fantastic questions, at least things that I have asked myself plenty of times at different moments, different times, different stages of my collection. And especially now, for example, that I had to let go out of necessity. I had to let go of many blades. This year has been like one of the worst, so I had to reduce my collection to less than 50% of what I used to have. So this year was pretty tough on that, and the other day kind of shook me up because I'm not able to buy right now for my collection, and yet I had to get rid of some pieces that I will not be able to get back. Some other pieces, that they're still around, but others just, you could still get them, but it's just going to be very hard and much more expensive than what I got them from. And it's something that always makes me think, and it's kind of a test for me. It's not the first time that I've done this. It is the first time that I've had to sell so many pieces of my collection and, decide which ones I'm going to keep. Which ones are more versatile, which ones are good for the channel and for my collection. And man, is it difficult, because there is a point where the hobby can enslave you, and you're worried where you're going to leave your blades, or if something happens to you, or somebody barging in your house and stealing your precious collection. And that it's only natural, right? But at the same time, it's enslaving. We are being enslaved by our objects. Our objects are owning us instead of us owning our objects and just enjoying them. So, and this brings me to different words that are very important and symbolic in my life. But like I said, before I go into those words, it is a test, at least for me. It's a test of how attached I am to my belongings, and my strongest attachments are my books and my blades. And yeah, there are certain things that were from my parents or special people in my life that I value and treasure. And but in the end, it's always, at least I take it as a test of letting go, of strengthening my character in that way, and just being able to let go of things that I really enjoy, things that I really like, that have meant a big effort on my behalf. And because getting these type of knives, at least here to Mexico, if it's hard for you guys, I've said this before. So those of you who have been following me for a longer time will know. But if it's hard for you guys to get a good knife, I don't know, a Spider Go, or any of the knives you find here, these are a bit easier, right? Except some of the Emersons. But something more specific. For example, a shaman. It's so difficult to get. It's difficult to get in the States, and it's so difficult to get here in Mexico. Let alone an XM18, a Chris Reeve, a Strider, anything more special. It's just so difficult and much more expensive. And so it represents a big investment of many things for us here in Mexico. I know also in the States, but it takes a whole lot more here outside of the US. I can speak as well for my Spaniard friends, for my Spanish friends, and Latin American friends, how difficult it is to get a good knife like this, even a cold steel. When you talk about Latin America and the situation that many countries are going through, and etc., it's difficult to get a good knife like that, And so when I mention this difficulty, I'm also thinking about, it was so difficult to get something, and of course, parting from it, it's going to be difficult. And that's how I measure, in a way, how attached I'm to some pieces that I can possibly get them back at some point in the future. Yeah, there will be those that I just won't be able to, But it's a great lesson of humbleness. So I'm grateful to being in the necessity of selling, so that I can perhaps recover just a bit of my economy after going through COVID. I was frozen for 8 weeks, that I couldn't work and really move around as I needed to. And so I took it as a great lesson and teaching, and I am grateful of having the collection, and I am grateful of being able to sell, so that I can it helps me out, but at the same time it's something difficult, right? It's something that it's kind of hard to do. And that's also when you can see how big the addiction is, or how big or profound the enjoyment is. And that just leads me to, I always make this parallel, this comparison of this hobby and this search for Excalibur and this search for great knives for at least me, right? And I use this hobby as a mirror, as a growing path, as a spiritual path, as a complement to those. And so, what is the mirror reflecting about me? You know? How attached am I? And why am I so attached? What necessities are the blades covering? You know, those are pretty harsh, pretty deep questions if we take them to the last instances. But also, these are questions that might help us into leading a better life, becoming better people. I don't want this to become an addiction. And I have to keep myself at bay all the time. I have to watch out, you know? But it is very interesting. It's very interesting to try to catch the reflection of this mirror, of what is it reflecting about me, about my personality, about my obsessiveness, you know, about my anxiety. Do I calm my nerves, my anxiety by buying? How much am I really enjoying my knives? Because I know the search will go on, and it's exciting. Because new things are going to come out. Some of the old things that are still good will leave the collection, perhaps at some point, you know? And new ones will come in. Why? Because I love learning from the blades. And I love growing with them, you know? Learning how to recognize and differentiate a good blade from a better blade. Steels, handles, different types of beauty. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it'll do. It'll have to do. And some more words come into play here. Balance. I can see in the reflection perhaps an unbalance in my personality. And maybe the blades will point at that unbalance and help me balance it back again. And it reminds me to value what I have while I still have it, you know, because perhaps tomorrow I'll have to get rid of it. And if I get rid of it to survive, well, what better way for my pieces to go than helping me to survive when I'm not able to do anything else? Yeah, there are those pieces that I regret, and I will answer to Gabe's tag video about the blades I regret selling during this week. But thanks, Gabe. Thanks for tagging me. And hopefully at some point, perhaps I'll have one of those back. But more and more blades keep on coming out, and I want to experience them, those geometries, right? And so I have to be alert about also my conceptual designation of the objects and try to be objective. because nothing has intrinsic identity. Most of the things, or all of the things according to different disciplines, are just conceptual designations. But, we get so attached to objects and people and situations and actions that, we end up becoming slaves of all of these things that we ourselves gave importance to. So, and at the same time, it's something that you earned with your hard-earned money. So which is right, Professor? Balance, my friends. To try to balance out things. Just as nature does every single day, every single moment. To try to keep balance. To try to walk on the edge with balance without cutting ourselves. Right? At the razor's edge. Trying to find balance. Trying to see what the mirror of our hobby reflects about us. And that's another way of getting to know ourselves and getting to know the community. That's why I love some of the tags that go on within the community. Because we get to learn about each other, about other people who are doing a tag and mentioning the 5 blades that make them happy. And so that's a pretty deep thing. What makes other people happy? And you see, you can think it's just a knife. Yeah, but what about the details about that knife? What about the story behind that knife? That's what matters. What's the story behind our knives? What's the story in the reflection that this mirror throws back at us? So many interesting points, at least for me. I enjoy that very, very much. And so I hope you enjoy your journey, however you wanted it to be. And I hope you become more conscious of your journey and enjoy it. And allow it not to be an addiction, but rather a journey of self-knowing. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Have a great, great week. Professor EDC out.